A very good evening and welcome to RwandaTV News in English with me, William Evans, beginning with the headlines. Rwanda's Minister of Local Government, Dominique Habimana, has acknowledged progress made by residents of Gicumbi district in community-led efforts to improve livelihoods. While the National Bank of Rwanda has commemorated former employees killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, calling on Rwandans to honor victims, strengthen unity and reject genocide ideology. It's always a pleasure having you join me for RwandaTV News. Now this is the news in detail. Rwanda's Minister of Local Government, Dominique Habimana, has acknowledged progress made by residents of Gicumbi district in community-led efforts to improve livelihoods while raising concern over persistently high levels of child stunting. He made the remarks during community work with residents of Kaniga sector, where efforts focused on vegetable gardening, soil conservation, and environmental protection in a settlement housing families relocated from high zone risk. The minister commended the district's performance in several socio-economic indicators, but said it remains troubling that Gicumbi continues to record one of the country's highest rates of chronic malnutrition among children under 5. Recent nutrition data shows that Rwanda's national stunting rate has declined to 27%, but several rural districts, including Gicumbi, remain above that average. Minister Habimana called for stronger household nutrition practices and sustained local action, saying development gains cannot be meaningful if children welfare is left behind. He also warned the residents of this border sector against illicit trade and cross-border smuggling. As part of the outreach, 9 vulnerable families received cows in support of household nutrition and income generation. Let's now go to Muhanga, where residents in Muhanga district say that delays in issuing permits to harvest mature trees are affecting livelihoods, particularly for families that rely on private woodlots for income and construction materials. The concern was raised in Mushishiro sector during community anti-erosion work aimed at cleaning invasive plants and maintaining terraces on hills of Kabira, an area vulnerable to landslides and heavy rainfall damage. District authorities say the temporary suspension of tree harvesting is part of the broader efforts to prevent disasters in high-risk zones. Mayor Jacqueline Kaitare says that the district expects harvesting activities to resume during the coming dry season gradually. Under Rwanda's forestry regulations, harvesting trees requires prior authorization from competent authorities, with the government tightening permit controls to prevent environmental degradation and ill logging. While some residents say the restrictions has created economic pressure, local leaders insist the measures are necessary to balance household needs with long-term environmental protection. The National Bank of Rwanda has commemorated former employees killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, calling on Rwandans to honor victims, strengthen unity, and reject genocide ideology. We do have details. Staff and leadership of the National Bank of Rwanda joined families of the 22 former employees killed during the genocide against the Tutsi in a ceremony marking the 32nd commemoration. The event served as a moment to honor their lives and reflect on the country's journey since 1994. A representative of the families, Inyas Marie Uwimana, expressed gratitude to the bank for continuing to remember and honor their loved ones. We thank very much the leadership of the Central Bank and its staff who stand with us in remembering our loved ones who are former employees of this bank. This is something that encourages us and motivates us to continue living. As the artist said, the country is there for us and you too are. The spokesperson of Rwanda Defense Forces, Brigadier General Ronald Givanga, in his remarks spoke about the planning and execution of the genocide, urging young people to take an active role in countering the genocide ideology. He called on them to use technology and social media responsibly to share truth and preserve Rwanda's history.
The
youth who are here, you too have your role. All of you will not join the army and do what we do, but you have full rights to fight another form of war. There are usually 4 types of battles, namely diplomatic wars like the one Ambassador Martin Ngoga is fighting at the UN. There is also information war too. This is where all of you, equipped with smartphones and computers, use them to share right information on what happened so it never happens again. The representative of Ibuka at the event remarked that commemoration helps survivors heal while also recognizing the role of the Rwanda Patriotic Army in stopping the genocide. I want to commend the resilience the survivors have continued to exhibit, but most importantly, it is a duty for all survivors to have peace and unity. I want to conclude by thanking survivors because they still carry the resilience within them, and they've continued demonstrating that they are living and committing to never again. Particularly for all Rwandans, it is not too much to ask that if there is anyone with information about our beloved who were killed, to share their locations. Even though Kwibuka restores their dignity, having a particular location where we find them, when we have memorial sites where we have laid them to rest, we get more encouragement and we can comfortably say that our loved ones are resting in peace. And I want to remind you all that we have a special pact with Inkotanyi. Take time and identify what it is. The governor of the National Bank of Rwanda, Soraya Hakuziyaremye, noted that Kwibuka is a time to honor victims, strengthen unity and resilience, and actively reject the genocide ideology. As we remember every other year, we continue to honor victims of the genocide, and those families will never be forgotten as long as we are here. Remembering them is our collective responsibility. We are considerate of those we remember today and their role in the development of the central bank. They played a key role in developing our financial and economic sectors, and they were strong pillars of their families. Such a day is also a moment of reflection as we remember the dark history of our country and call out the bad leadership and government that planned and executed the genocide against the Tutsi, killing its citizens it was meant to protect, resulting into the loss of over 1 million Tutsi in just 100 days. We continue to call out those who distort the facts and our history, those who downplay the genocide against the Tutsi, and we have the responsibility of sharing our history rightly and continue to promote unity and development of all Rwandans. We also have a responsibility to continue developing ourselves, our economy, and ensuring that we never go back to such a dark past. The ceremony placed special focus on remembering the 22 former employees of the bank who were killed during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. Now, members of Nigerian community living in Rwanda say that visiting genocide memorials is helping them better understand Rwanda's history and strengthening their commitment to peace and genocide prevention. We do have details to this report. At the Kigali Genocide Memorial, members of the Nigerian community living in Rwanda were taken through the history of the genocide against the Tutsi. They, to those laid to rest there. For many of the visitors, the experience was both emotional and educational, offering lessons on peaceful coexistence, reconciliation, rebuilding after tragedy.
Like this, and there's a lot of education that we learned from the hall just now, and it also opened our eyes to a lot of things, how they were able to control and still be one Rwanda after the H and the T wars. They were still able to, some people confess, and they were still able to come together as a one Rwanda, and not just a Rwanda, they are one of the rising country we have in Africa in terms of neatness, in terms of security. Rwanda are still leading. So
comes to Rwanda should first visit the memorial. The memorial will give you an idea of where Rwanda is coming from That will help you to treat Rwandese and the Rwanda as a country in a better form. Because if you don't understand where they're coming from, you will think everything is just a gimmick. But when you understand what they've been through, you should be able to feel their pains. So in making certain decisions or changing the narrative, you tell the story based on real facts, not just formulate something to make people like believe. You know, I have been able to attend few events where people cry and they pass out. You know, I've been in there like 1,000,000 times.
The head of the Nigerian community in Rwanda noted that Rwanda's history offers an important lesson, not just for Africa, but for the world.
Rwanda, the way they come together and continue and then progress their country. If you look at it, I think Rwanda is unique compared to many other places where conflict has taken place, where people now come together, decide to continue living together, to help one another and to resolve their problems and solve and start progressing.
He says that Rwanda's choice to pursue unity, mutual support and peaceful solutions after the genocide against the Tutsi has made it a reference point for many nations seeking sustainable reconciliation. Nigeria's ambassador to Rwanda noted that such visits help deepen understanding and reinforce a shared global responsibility to prevent atrocities.
We're here to say that we understand and to believe that never again should this happen anywhere on our continent, anywhere. We must actually also applaud the people of Rwanda, ability of the people of Rwanda to heal, move on.
He added that Rwanda offers the international community a powerful lesson in choosing peace over hatred and rebuilding over revenge. 70 Nigerians took part in the memorial visit. They were among members of the Nigerian community currently living and working in Rwanda in different sectors. A creative approach to youth engagement is taking shape through sport. Murenzi Kamatari is using street basketball as a platform to connect with his roots and empower communities back home. Enora Gladys.
That's actually our time when we started, no one was playing Rwandan music. But by the time I decided just to go for entertainment, because that's when, by the time we had too many young people trying to get to the studio, but they couldn't make it or their music couldn't play at the radio station. That's when we started. And then the fact that I was starting with the music, Rwandan artists, that's when my career as a journalist just went crazy. Everyone was like, we have new journalists, and he's young. That's when I started. 2011, end of 2011, same year, I went to school. It was college. So I went to Hudson Valley Community College. I did 2 years in digital media. Then from there I started working. Actually, when you watch TVs, and then when you listen to the radio stations, you feel like you miss something. You miss to be home. And then being lonely, that only connect to your country. You'd be like, if I was in my country, I could talking to my sisters, my brothers. And then you have friends who always going to Facebook inbox, say, oh, hi, we miss you. So that, all those messages, all those WhatsApp. I guess by the time WhatsApp, it wasn't that popular, 2011. It wasn't that popular, but it was Facebook where I was receiving all the messages. And then I had friends. I remember in 2013, I decided just to close my Facebook account. From there, I was like, I want to go back to my country, but do I have to go back same Murenzi, or I have to go with something new? Because when I was here, I was MC for the shows. Everyone knows me how I was changing clothes at the stage. I missed that moment. I missed something new that I have to bring to my country. That's where I was pretty much thinking my country, if I'm going back, what I have to start, what special I have to be. Do I have to be Sam Murenzi? Do I have to be New Murenzi? I was always thinking about that.
Did you come back in between those years, or this is your first time coming back to Rwanda after those years?
This is actually my third time, because first time it was 2018. Then I came back just right before the COVID, 2021, which was everyone had masks, you know. The country was a little bit different. I was like, oh, this is different, you know. It's, then I decided, I was working hard when I went back 2011. I was like, now Rwanda is changing. That time, a visit to Rwanda was getting popular everywhere. I remember when I came to the airport, I had Arsenal T-shirt with Visit to Rwanda, and that was first year they signed with the Arsenal. Then I saw all the passengers in flights, how they've been saying, oh, Rwanda, 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 we have to go visit Rwanda. Then that's when I left 2021, I was like, I have to start something. My heart was just beating, say, what do I have to start? And then what do I have to do just to do contribution for my country development? That's how everything started. They're not social. And then if you don't speak in their accent, they'll be like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Africa, okay. But then to start new life, it's not that easy.
It's not.
If someone told you before that to start life in the US, it's easy, that's lying. First of all, you have to find a way to survive. But once you make it, you will make it. Sometimes, if you listen to the Jay-Z song, he said, if you can make it in New York, you can make everywhere. You can make it everywhere. The challenge is people are not that friendly. Then they see you always as African. Even if you speak their language, they'll be like, where are you from? Even if you have their citizenship, it's always, where are you from? And then by the time I wasn't speaking good English, it was really, really challenging. I was always watching Jimmy Fallon to catch something, at least to catch some word that I can always use in my English always. So then the challenge also for finding the way to work. Work, it's not that easy to find it. You can't go to US and then say, I can start work tomorrow. No, you really have to write those resumes. You really have to know someone, because for them, they call. If you give like a reference numbers, they will call that person. They say, oh, you know this guy? He say, you know him. How do you know him?
What is he capable of? What? Yeah.
Yes, is he the guy that we can trust? Something like that. Those challenges, first of all, you have to make friends. Those friends you have to make, you have to choose. Because you can make friends for someone who's drug dealers, let me say that. You can make friends with someone who doesn't have a good job.
Mr. Mlenzi right there talking street basketball with purpose and talking to Olivnete Nont Elnora Gladys. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. I am William Evans. Have a good night and goodbye.